I'm Corbitt with DVAuction, here with your feeder flash for Wednesday, July the 30th, brought to you in part by Performance Livestock Analytics. Performance Beef is software designed by cattle producers for cattle producers. It helps you with feeding accuracy, health data recording, inventory, closeouts, and staying connected with those that are the most important to your operation. For more information, go to performancelivestockanalytics.com. Riding the wave. This thing is so wild. I mean, people are still participating in this record high market, and they're afraid not to because they thought it was too high $50 ago, but they're still going along with it because we don't know when it's going to end. We've had the highest live cattle contract now on Tuesday that's ever traded in history. The highest live cattle contract ever. Of course, that goes along with the highest live cattle weighted average on a direct basis last week that we've ever had at 239.38. These prices have just gone along. It's just been perfect for folks in the middle third of the country. We've had a wet year. It's been great. The forage has been great. The grazing has been great. Everything. The crops have been great. We got a bumper crop coming in for corn, and all of this has just been right in time with the highest market we've ever seen. So we're just continuing to ride the wave here. It's awesome here. But how much longer is it going to last? Nobody knows. We're just continuing to ride this wave, and everybody's still participating in the markets because they don't want to get left out in case this thing gets even higher. But it's been really great, and it continues to go. We've got a new sale barn that is starting up. Of course, it's been there before, but they're going to start up again. Central Plains Stockyards. That's a new name in Humiston, Iowa. That has been purchased by Russell Sleep. He's a friend of the Feeder Flash. We've known him forever, good friend of mine. He is going to be having his first broadcast from Central Plains Stockyards on Wednesday. It's just going to be a weigh-up sale. He'll have some special feeder cattle auctions and special replacement sales, but just starting out with a weigh-up sale here on Wednesday, so be sure and tune in to them at DVAuction.com. Talk about your board on Tuesday. August live cattle futures were up another $1.85 at 229.72. October up 167 at 226.45, and your back months on live cattle up 95 to up $1.40. August feeder cattle continuing to roll, up 267 at 336.20, far outreaching your cash index levels. I tell you what, that 336.20 is way out there. It's about $4 ahead of our index levels. September feeder cattle up 252, even higher than that at 337.07. Your back months on feeder cattle up big, up 152 to 255. And grain's cheaper. December new crop corn down 3 cents a bushel at 4.11. November new crop beans down 2 cents a bushel at 10.09.5. And your hard red winter wheat for September down 7.5 cents a bushel at 5.18.5. Fat cattle trade normally don't have anything early this week, this early in the week, but we did see a little bit of trade out of Nebraska on Tuesday afternoon. 700 head at about $8.50 for the week. Live sales in Nebraska $240 towards the top of last week's trading range, and $385. That is a new top on dress sales in the Northern Plains and posted in Nebraska on Tuesday, which is significant because we haven't even started thinking about trading yet, and they're already trading cattle at $385, which we haven't seen. Kansas hasn't traded anything on Tuesday. They had a few late Monday at 230, which is towards the top of the range for last week. So it's looking good for this week's fat cattle trade. Although you can see already your packers are short bought, they need cattle, so these cattle feeders are going to dig in, they're going to get higher prices again, and ain't no telling where this thing's going to go. Did have our market finder, even though it was light on receipts at Stockman's Livestock Market in Yankton, South Dakota, biggest fat cattle brick and mortar auction market in the nation. They had 500 head in overnight, 1,250 head for their fat cattle auction on Tuesday, and that is a light run for them. But it was really hot on Monday, and it was hard to get those cattle moved. Tell you what, when these indexes are up and it's hot and sticky, and you know, it's just hard to move cattle when it's hot like that. But they sold conventional cattle in Yankton for $241 to $249. Wasn't really a good enough test to get a trend out of that, but it was fully steady at least. Program cattle selling from $247.5 to $250. But my friend Gary Marks there that watches that sell every week and gives us the results, he said most of the cattle needed more feed. If there were full-fledged finished fed cattle, they sold really high, but even on a light run there, most of the cattle really needed more feed. And he said, you know, if guys had them, they would bring them in at these prices. So these farmer feeders in that area that normally bring cattle to Yankton, they don't have any, or they would be bringing them in. Box beef cutout values were lower, quite a bit lower on Tuesday. Choice cuts down $354 at $364.19. Selects down $437 at $342.48. That's a big loss on them, and then these packers are just not able to keep that up. Or else on the spot market, on the little bit of trade they have on the spot market, they want to show lower prices to try to get that fat cattle market down, but it was lower regardless. Your slaughter through the first 2 days of the week, 221,000 estimated cattle slaughter. That's 4,000 less, or 4,000 more than this point last week. Of course, it was a disappointing week, and they had those slowdowns in some plants there. But it's 16,000 less than this point a year ago. Talk about what else is going on. Charolais, I tell you what, if you're looking to make a change in your genetics, they can increase your red meat yield and carcass weights, add efficiency to you in the feed yard, but more dollars per head. All of this with industry acceptance. That's the main thing, guys. Especially you got black cows, you can introduce these Charolais cattle to them. You've still got industry acceptance on your calves. But for more information, go to poundsmatter.com. Let's talk about your feeder cattle market, brought to you by Specialty Risk Insurance. They are working to protect your livelihood, guys. Your real-time cash index from DVAuction after your Tuesday sales that all closed, sitting at 332.71. That's based on an 800-pound cash auction steer. It was up another $1.10 on Tuesday. Your latest CME cash feeder cattle index is up there too at 332.20. Talk about your big sales on Tuesday. Beaver County Stockyards in Beaver, Oklahoma. They had 3,500 head for you there. Check out these trends. Feeder steers $15 to $20 higher. This is called by Oklahoma Department of Agriculture Market News Service there. 15 to 20 higher on feeder steers. Steer calves $7 to $12 higher. Feeder heifers $9 to $14 higher. And heifer calves $11 to $15 higher, with instances sharply higher on your lighter weight heifers there. It was your Superior Steel Sales, home of Superior Standard Livestock Handling Equipment, stick out sale of the day. You look at this automated market report through Cattle Market Central and you see your best tested weights. 165 head of 6-weight steers averaged 640 at 383.22. There were 395 head of 7-weight steers averaged 761 at 336.96. 467 head of the 8-weight steers averaged 859 at 332.11, and 595 head of 9-weight steers averaged 954 at 316.28. Look at the heifers here. 127 head of 4-weight heifers averaged 457 at 410.78. 258 head of the 5-weight heifers averaged 547 at 388.42, and 105 head of 6-weight heifers at Beaver County stockyards averaged 657 at 337.65. And I tell you what, I was at Beaver County stockyards on Tuesday. Hadn't been over there for a while. They are expanding because they've just grown exponentially in the last few years, getting so many cattle in there. They're doing such a good job for their customers, selling cattle high. Sold over 200,000 cattle last year, probably going to sell more than that this year. But some of the highest cattle are absolutely the highest cattle that I've ever sold. But that doesn't mean much. All the cattle are selling higher than ever. But had some steers in there weighing nearly 850 pounds at 345.25. Tell you what, big sales there at Beaver County stockyards. Look at some other sales all across the country. Alabama Livestock Auction in Uniontown, Alabama had their big board sale, the fall board sale for them. They had 160 loads offered, and they were on DVAuction.com. I mean, an excellent sale. They had it right there in Uniontown, Alabama. They didn't have to go across the country to some resort mountain area there to sell the cattle from the southeast. They just did it right there. Most of the 850-pound steers were bringing from 327 to 331, which is, I mean, that's outstanding for southeastern raised steers there. But they were yearlings. But probably the most stick-out sale that I saw there at Uniontown was a load of heifers, weighed 575 pounds. That was 150 days weaned. Everything was right. Coming off grass there, bring 372, and that's a big time quote there for the deep south. How about some other quotes from all around? Bluegrass Stockyards in Lexington, Kentucky sells 67 steers, weighed 802 pounds at 340. I tell you what, big time sales, guys. They had Kingsville Livestock Auction in Kingsville, Missouri. Sold 69 steers, weighed 791 at 350. But probably the most impressive quote that I saw on Tuesday, and your Macrison, no BS, top quote for the day, come out of Phillip Livestock Auction. We like to call him Phillip the Giant there. They sold 68 steers, weighed 878 at 347. And that's your feeder flash for Wednesday.